So Nepal's belligerence and China's interference are now a matter of record. What is India doing to counter this? India has expressed displeasure, but frankly done little to set the record straight. India remains guarded and Nepal seems to be reading this silence as a sign of weakness. The question is, what happens next? Is this a divorce after a long marriage or a dispute that can still be resolved? Let's break it down for you in 5 questions, starting with the most important one. Is there still room for diplomacy? We'd like to believe yes. To be fair, Delhi has a lot on its plate. The Wuhan virus is spreading all over the country, the economy is in bad shape, and China is at the border. Nepal perhaps is not priority right now. But that doesn't change the fact that Nepal altered the status quo without giving diplomacy a chance. India must respond if it isn't already responding. Question number 2. What are India's options? Nepal is provoking Delhi and going deeper into China's embrace. But Nepal still heavily relies on India. India remains Nepal's largest trading partner, accounting for a third of Nepal's overall trade. From fuel to basic medical supplies, all its essentials come from India. Tens of thousands of Nepal's citizens live and work in India. Delhi has many levers, diplomatic, economic and strategic, when it comes to Kathmandu. The question is what and when India chooses to use. Question number 3. Was the road inauguration ill-timed? In other words, could this have been avoided? Did India unwittingly precipitate this? As I said before, the project is not new, not something that Nepal did not know about, but the timing of the inauguration was important. It may have come as a blessing in disguise for the politically embattled Prime Minister of Nepal, facing pressure from all sides, political and public. So India's actions gave him a new nationalistic lifeline, a chance to stand up to a bigger partner and to prove his nationalism to his people. Did India not see Nepal's reaction coming? Was there a miscalculation? We only end up with more questions. Here's another one. Have the responses from both sides further pushed ties to the brink? Nepal went on a rant against India. The Prime Minister led the tirade. He mocked India. He blamed it for the pandemic. What did India do? First, the Army Chief of India spoke about an external hand in Nepal. Then the Defence Minister invoked old ties, roti beti, he said. And in between, there were long stretches of silence. The political uneasiness between the two is evident. Nepal's optics and India's silence have not helped matters. And the last question, and this one's for Kathmandu to answer. What does Nepal's so-called constitutional amendment change on the ground? Is Nepal just trying to make a point here? Because India still very much is in control of these territories. It may have redrawn its map, but the change still remains on paper for Nepal. Will it push for greater control of these territories now? Will India simply let go of 3 strategic areas, knowing the growing Chinese influence in Nepal? Or are both sides doing what they're doing largely because of domestic political compulsions? The questions are never ending. I said 5, now I've lost count. So I'll end with a story. It's a fable from West Asia. I've paraphrased a bit. Someone stole the eggs from a family's coop. The head of the family, an old man, flew into a rage. The others said he was overreacting. It's only a few eggs, they said. Then someone stole a goat. The old man told his sons to do something. They said, we have many goats. We can let go of one. And then a child was stolen. When the family expressed shock and disbelief, the old man said they should have acted when the eggs were taken. Moral of the story, act now when it's just the eggs.